All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are zeroing in on a massive geopolitical trigger event that is fast approaching and literally reshaping India's eastern strategic calculus. I'm talking about the December 2026 expiration of the Ganges Water Sharing Treaty. And look, this isn't just about water, right? It's the exact nexus where climate variability, a major political transition in Dhaka, and China's rapid strategic encirclement all crash into each other.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our zero fluff syllabus roadmap for the briefing. We'll hit the Ganges Treaty and hydropolitics, the political transition and stability, China's strategic encirclement, and India's balancing strategy. We will wrap it all up with your mains answer frameworks and a rapid revision recall loop. Let's go. Section 1. The Ganges Treaty and hydropolitics, the 2026 trigger. So the 1996 treaty was an absolute landmark achievement. But as we inch closer to its 30-year expiration in 2026, dry season allocation is becoming the critical friction point. And this brilliantly illustrates why. Look at the geographic reality here, the Fraka barrage in West Bengal. Its main operational purpose? Diverting the Ganges flow right into the Hooghly River so the Kolkata port downstream stays navigable. But if you're Bangladesh, this upstream diversion directly correlates with some brutal downstream crises. We are talking devastating coastal salinity intrusion and just massive stress on their irrigation, specifically between January and May.
To actually manage this, the 1996 treaty relies on a highly mechanical, flow-based sharing formula measured in 10-day chunks. Let's break it down mechanically. If the flow is looking good, above 75,000 cusecs, it's a straight 50-50 split. If it's moderate, between 70,000 and 75,000, Bangladesh is guaranteed 35,000 cusecs. Drops below 70,000, India gets a fixed 35,000 cusecs. But wait, here is the absolutely critical strategic failure point: increasing climate variability. Changing precipitation and melting glacier dynamics mean those flows are completely unpredictable now. So we're stuck with this growing mismatch between a rigid, fixed allocation framework and a highly variable hydrological reality. So who actually navigates this mismatch? Well, it falls on the bilateral institutional architecture. You've got the Joint Rivers Commission established way back in 1972 alongside the Technical Committee on the Ganges. Fast forward to March 2026, the 86th meeting of the JRC happens in Kolkata. And listen, without formal treaty negotiations actively happening, these technical meetings are absolutely crucial. This is the primary platform where bilateral data exchange actually happens, and where pre-treaty renegotiation positions are quietly hammered out.
Section 2. Political transition and stability, the BNP era. Now we have to layer all this hydro diplomacy over a literal seismic shift in Dhaka's domestic politics, the massive transition from the Awami League to the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or BNP. Historically, the Awami League maintained a deep strategic alignment with India. The BNP, on the other hand, leans hard into assertive nationalism and multi-alignment. So the crucial point is that analysts are noting the new government is actually opting for what we call managed pragmatism. They're favoring continuity over ideological posturing. Why? Because the geopolitical realities basically demand it. Okay, so what exactly are those realities forcing stability? Take a look at these four structural pillars. First, economic interdependence is just massive. Bangladesh relies heavily on India for power imports, essential land transit routes, and regional market access. On top of that, ongoing, critical cooperation on counterterrorism and insurgency operations makes any drastic policy reversal way too costly for Dhaka. Basically, in an era of BIMSTEC integration and supply chain focus, geoeconomics is what's really anchoring the whole relationship. Section 3. China's strategic encirclement, expanding footprints. Now, Bangladesh's shift toward multi-alignment practically opens the front door for China to step in as a strategic counterbalance. The evolution of their defense ties is incredibly rapid. Just look at the timeline. In 2024, they elevated ties to a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership and kicked off the Golden Friendship Joint Exercises, which was a huge step in doctrinal engagement. By 2026, we're seeing the delivery of VT-5 light tanks. But the most alarming shift? That happened in January 2026 with a major agreement for UAV manufacturing and tech transfer. China isn't just a basic arms supplier anymore. They are structurally embedding themselves as a co-producer in Bangladesh's military ecosystem.
Now, what's really interesting about the slide is the direct security implications for India, which are severe. Crucially, that January 2026 drone facility, it is being set up right near the Indian border. Add to this Chinese assistance in submarine base development, rapid Belt and Road Initiative expansion, and serious logistics involvement in the Mongala and Chittagong ports.
You see what's happening? This creates dual-use logistical nodes that could very easily support future Chinese naval operations right on India's eastern seaboard.
Section 4. India's balancing strategy and regional impact.
When you combine the expiring hydropolitics, the BNP's newly found managed pragmatism, and China's military expansion, this whole synthesis creates a truly formidable threat landscape for India. The developments we're seeing in Bangladesh feed directly into the broader string of pearls dynamic, directly threatening India's maritime security in the vital Bay of Bengal. Plus, those border-proximate UAV facilities, they introduce severe intelligence and surveillance threats directly to India's northeast. Ultimately, we are witnessing an erosion of India's traditional strategic influence. It basically frames Bangladesh as a critical swing state in the intensifying great power competition of South Asia.
Section 5. Mains Answer Frameworks. All right, let's shift gears into exam mode and actually translate this strategic data into a high-scoring 150 to 250 word framework. For your intro, you always establish the context. Make sure you cite the 2026 treaty expiry and the geopolitical transition. In the body, you want to map out the exact cause and effect chain across 3 pillars. First, water. Fixed allocations versus climate variability. Second, geopolitics. The BNP's shift to multi-alignment and that January 2026 China UAV pact. And third, security. The string of pearls dynamic clashing directly with structural economic interdependence. Finally, for your conclusion, heavily emphasize policy. India absolutely must navigate this through managed pragmatism and incredibly robust institutional diplomacy.
And to actually secure maximum marks, you need to dictate precise administrative terminology. Underline these exact phrases in your answers, okay? Managed pragmatism, hydrological variability, dual-use infrastructure, strategic encirclement, multi-alignment, and flow-based sharing. These are the exact keywords examiners are actively scanning for, so use them. Section 6. Rapid revision and recall.
All right, time to lock this in. Question 1. Think back to the Farakka barrage mechanics we just covered. What are the specific flow thresholds for the 1996 Ganges Treaty sharing formula? Try to retrieve those exact numbers right now.
Got them? Here is the validation. Greater than 75,000 cusecs means a 50-50 split. Between 70,000 and 75,000, Bangladesh gets 35,000. Less than 70,000, India gets 35,000. And remember, this rigid formula is increasingly stressed by climate-driven dry season variability.
Moving on to question 2, let's test the timeline of Chinese strategic encroachment. Which specific defense agreement signed in January 2026 raised major border security concerns for India? The answer is the UAV, or Drone, Manufacturing and Technology Transfer Agreement. This is vital because it represents a truly dangerous shift, moving from simple arms imports to indigenized defense production with Chinese technical assistance situated right near the Indian border. Okay, here is your final revision capsule. Connect the chain of events. The 2026 treaty expiry meets climate variability. This happens right as the BNP takes power, adopting multi-alignment, but finding themselves forced into institutional continuity by deep economic and security independence. Then China leverages this autonomy to embed UAVs and submarine bases, which massively intensifies the Bay of Bengal power competition. Remember the flow. Geopolitics drives security, but is constantly constrained by the economy. Let's move to our final slide and see how this all builds into one core strategic dilemma. As Bangladesh leverages its swing state status through managed pragmatism, can India truly secure its eastern flank without fundamentally restructuring its own regional hydrodiplomacy and maritime doctrines? I want you to analyze that as you review your notes. All right? Thank you for joining this explainer. Keep reviewing, keep connecting the dots, and I'll catch you in the next briefing.